Right, ladies and gentlemen, we're trying something different tonight. We're on YouTube on horizontal, and I did do a poll in Discord. People prefer when I do the portrait streams. Nothing's going to change there. We're still going to do portrait streams for basically coding. So the 2 3-hour coding sessions on YouTube will still be portrait. However, I did want to set up a more streamlined process because I do record horizontal full screen code sessions as well. And the plan is there that I'll actually be uploading kind of highlights and recaps to the YouTube channel. So people that don't catch the streams are able to come back, and also kind of acts as a development diary for me. That's probably the most important thing. Let's have a look here and see if we are coming through on the live, and then we'll continue. This is basically going to act as an update session, and we're kind of a precursor to the portrait streams each night. I'm just going to get on here, kind of explain what I'm doing. If I have something interesting to show in full screen, I'll go ahead and do that. A couple of things. It's easier now to do like the YouTube talking head thing. So yes. Plus you can see my desk a little bit easier. For coding, I'll be able to just hop right in here. You'll be able to see everything that I'm working on. I'm actually quite excited about that. The only thing that I have to do now is figure out some audio tracks that can be used in all the streaming services, because I do like to code with music, and I think that's important to include in the stream. We also have our traditional setup here with the portrait Kynto on the side and me off to the right. Quite excited about this. All right, so where are we going to start? Well, if we open up our code environment, I did want to, let me get my mouse back to the right computer. What we're going to take a look at is media soup. So for those that don't know, Kynto is not just an avatar overlay for streams that integrates with live chat. Currently it supports YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and Discord. It's also what allows me to share my screen and even code remotely and host streams and invite guests and stuff on. And all that under the hood is powered by WebRTC. And the truth is, WebRTC is quite a complicated system to work with, as powerful as it is. We're getting media streams for free, essentially, in browser without technically relying on a server. But as I'm working on this and want to scale up and use higher and higher resolutions, we're going to see where we can leverage server technology. And that's where we're going to be taking a look at media soup. So quite excited about that. Just have to stop saying so let me move this computer out of the way so I can see my code. And I kind of like this because I noticed with YouTube you have to use the format if you want to get it built out with YouTube. If we ever want to get build up an audience on horizontal streams, we have to start using it. So that's why we're going to use it as like kind of the initialization. So the stream logic for WebRTC is quite complicated. The first thing I'm just going to do, I implemented a screen recorder class. There's a lot of features that I don't think I've even shown. Most people have been following this project for some time. This allows me to record media streams. What we're going to do is we're just going to pull this out, pop its own file. We're going to clean up the core WebRTC logic to make it easier to debug and develop in. So all we're going to do is cut out our screen recorder right here, go up, and just kind of make some additional classes here for utilities and for our screen recorder. We'll just call this record.js. And yes, I'm a fan of JavaScript. That's what I started with when I was 11 years old. And absolutely nothing has changed to this day. I do use TypeScript when I want to. And as I mentioned, this is just, we're going to give this a go. All right. So now we pop this in its own file. Let's hop back over to our WebRTC implementation and just pull that in. As you can see, I've got a lot of utilities in here that I need to clean out. This doesn't belong in here. Screen recorder. All right, I should take care of that. The nice thing though is I do have this Steam Deck sitting on the desk. So I have a full dedicated horizontal view for Kynto. I think that's going to be really cool when it comes to actually try to demonstrate features or show the more gamified aspects of this, because this is actually a world builder, believe it or not. It's kind of done in the isometric perspective, so think the original Roller Coaster Tycoon, original Age of Empires, stuff like that. So just a question. We'll switch back over to code. I don't think we will do a portrait stream tonight. I just kind of wanted to hop in here and just start the process of making use of our new environment. Thinking today I'll go to the beach though. It's 4 in the morning in Florida where I'm at. So right now I'm just scrolling over some of the file transfer behavior, the WebRTC implementation. So people know though, because people will just be stumbling into this. The avatar system on the right is hooked up to the live chat. So anyone that talks gets a unique voice, they get a little avatar that they control. So it's probably a good idea just to leave it up, right? Get my face out of the way. That's better. So first step when we're just cleaning this up, just make sure we don't break anything in the process. We'll go ahead and test out our recording functionality. What we'll do is share. Which screen? This screen. As you can see, I can share my desktop, which is pretty sweet. We'll show our crazy stats from our streaming method here. This is test. If I click this, you see I get this toolbar at the bottom. One of the options is actually remote desktop control, believe it or not, all implemented over WebRTC, my own implementation. But we're just going to test that record still works. So we'll just go ahead and scroll about, make sure that records, click stop recording, and it should give us a download or pop in the chat, Kynto upload. All right, so we're missing import. Let's go ahead and get that in there. We should be good to go, guys. Quickly reload. As mentioned, we're working on the WebRTC side of things. It's kind of the most difficult aspect of what I've built here. All the live chat integration, so you can actually talk into the stream, pales in comparison to how complicated this was to implement. Let's share this screen again, test out our record. And this is really cool. This isn't even technically going through a server. This is all peer-to-peer. Let's just scroll in, ensure recorder still works. Recording ended, no errors. See if it pops up. There we go, and we got our download. Let's just actually make sure it still works. And there is a limit because we're right into RAM. Didn't figure out, I don't think I took it too far. It's actually like right into the hard disk, so we could like have gigantic recordings. All right, so that looks good. If I did want to activate live chat, see if I've seen someone chat with us tonight, I would just go in the production version here. Am I on the right account? I hope so. Let's see. Oh, that's right, it's buried in here. Yeah, I would just go into YouTube and then click start. And now it's active. If I go ahead and type into what's cool is I'll just bring up on my other screen here and we'll test this out. Did it work? Yeah, it did. Let's scroll up so you can see the message. We're actually going to make some changes here as well. These chat bubbles stay too long. And I know this because I've been testing with some other bigger folks' streams. I have YouTube Premium, but I'm listening to music and get ads because I'm not signed in on this computer. Okay. So let's switch back to, no, we have this active. So while I'm here tonight, I just want to do a couple of quick things that have been bothering me, a couple of fixes. We're essentially going to add a pause button to the YouTube live chat system. That way, if I'm kind of explaining something or answering someone's question, they can go ahead and hear me talk before it gets cut off. There was also something else. So when working with this YouTube chat implementation, I thought it would be enough to just have one live chat per room, right? So if other creators wanted to use this tool, they'd be able to do that, no problem. But what I figured out on YouTube, you can technically host a portrait and a horizontal stream at the same time. And why do I keep going on about portrait? Well, portrait's the only way we get people to discover like what the hell I'm building here, and they're more likely to engage in a chat. So that's why the portrait's important. But when it comes to actually showing code, so you can actually read it on screen and it be legible, this is the format. So ideally, I want to be able to run two streams. We'll have the portrait stream, which gets some discoverability in the YouTube algorithm as people are scrolling through their phone. And then we have our horizontal stream where like regular viewers could come in and watch. The problem is, the way I've coded this is the live chat integration for YouTube is like one live chat instance per room. So it's going to be a bit of a kerfuddle coming back and making it so we can support multiple instances of live chat in the room. Because ideally, I want portrait and a horizontal live stream in YouTube combined into one chat. So no matter where you're coming from, you're not missing out on any of the chat, and I'm not missing out on any of the questions. But the first thing I want to do is add the ability to just pause asking YouTube for new messages here. So I think what we're just going to do is just add is pause to our state. Well, default to false. And then what I'm going to do is set up a route in Express, which lets us do a get API request. So if you look at my desk right here, I've got this little Steam Deck that I use to switch, scenes around and stuff. I'm going to add a pause button. There's only a couple of people watching, but if I click viewers and go back to code, which one? This one, you can see that viewer count updates. Well, I'm going to add additional buttons, and the way the Steam Deck set up is has to be a get request. So that's what I'm setting up now. Feel free to ask any questions about the stack. Nothing's off limits here. I'll happily go through anything. I had some questions last night, even just how I implemented the YouTube system. And the truth is, compared to like Twitch, Discord or Kick, it's a pain in the butt. You'd expect to have, at the very least, the webhooks, so they could tell me when there's a new chat message. Next to that, the best thing they could do would be like some sort of WebSocket implementation. They don't have that. It's just literally we're hitting a get endpoint with live chats, and it costs tokens to do that. So implementing a pause here is not a bad idea. So let's scroll down to our fetch messages loop, which is down here. Currently, right now, it terminates if it is active, it gets set to false. But we're just going to add the ability to skip, right? All right. So we're going to clean this up a little bit. We're going to use destruction. We're going to apply it as active and is paused from this.state. And we can get rid of this. We'll leave that up there first. And we'll just do if it's paused. All we'll do is return. So now we're going to have to add a method on essentially how I coded this system. Everything is built out as modules. I'm putting my little plugin layer, all sorts of stuff. The client and server can talk to each other via events, and the server can talk to itself via events as well. When trying to build something this large, I found that was like kind of the best architecture to do so. So we need a way to set this as paused. Let's go look at where we actually set up. So we have an event handler called live action, and it takes a parameter called action and then also has payload. What we're going to do is just add an additional case here to set pause. And I'll have one for case play. And then we'll have one for case toggle pause. And we'll come back and code that. All right. So we're going to go into the Express side. Not proud of this. It's just literally flung together. I can see that. That's okay. You can see I've set up some additional routes here already. What we're actually going to come do is pull this out, pop it into its own controller. We might even do that now, but let's just at least set up our path. So we're just going to do, and what's important here is everything that we get from the Steam Deck on my desk here is just a GET request, but we could pass, parameters in via that GET request for each specific button. So we'll go ahead and do that. What should I call it? Pause. Well, we might just come back and actually make this, call it action. This way we could probably get rid of these additional cases I've already coded. This is just Express. Just a quick reminder, the live chat is hooked up into that avatar display you see on the right. You can control your avatar, you can change it, you can make it walk around the screen, you can collect things on the screen, and most importantly, you can speak into the stream. It does run through moderation machine learning, which is quite effective at basically pruning out the crap. But as I've been growing this channel, I've not really had many issues thus far, but I know as it continues to grow, that may be an issue. What else? Yeah, just typically a portrait streams has a lot more discoverability, but we need to start more legible coding streams here. And all I'm going to do is send this event on behalf of my authenticated user, which is kind of, let's get this rolling. So from the socket, we can deduce which room my account is in. So that's required. If you're not in a room, you should terminate. And ideally, we'd even check to make sure that the YouTube instance is running here, but there's no danger of firing an event into the event bus if there's nothing listening to it. So we'll just go ahead and do that. It's a good idea to technically return something we're dealing with Express. So we'll probably just go ahead and do that. We need to come back and make a nice little reusable function for this. And this API is literally just for me. And one of the good one of the reasons I wanted to do the pause in the first place from fetching YouTube chats is there is instances like where I'm testing new formats on YouTube where we just don't have a lot of chatting going on anyway. So we've got two cases that it would be good with. Stopping up token burnage when we're just, fetching chats, there's no one talking. And the second thing is if I'm trying to respond to a question, we don't want to get cut off. But second to that, I do have a front-end way to handle that. So if you take a look in here, we have this TTS panel. So I'm building up a front-end queue that's going to make it easier for people to chat and live chat and like not have their messages cut off, because that's been a bit of feedback that I've got. Someone will ask a question and someone else will immediately ask something else, and the current TTS system basically just cuts that person off. And this will give us a visual cue as well. I'll be able to pull up and see a front end logs for it, so it'll be helpful. Quite happy with this though. This is a OBS implementation, so this can also control OBS when I'm out and about, so I can bring avatars along with me, specifically relevant for our portrait streams. All right, let's fish stay here. Like I can even change the scene. Let's see what it's called. I can go to like the Kynto version. Check this out. That's super clean, man. I'm really happy with that. And which one is what I want? Yeah, incredibly happy with that. But what I want to come do, when I come back and do after I finish is pause stuff, is just to add a button group here with frequently used scenes, because like half of these scenes are not meant to be displayed on stream. They're used for like scene composition, if that makes sense. But yeah, I was able to implement this into OBS just using the WebSockets protocol, which is now part of it. And you can see we're actively streaming here. And oh no, I forgot to click start record. Just did that now. That's a bummer. All right, carrying on. It doesn't look like Twitch is active. Let me just hop over to Twitch because we do run over there as well. No chats. So we won't go ahead and activate that tonight. That's fine. All right, back to this. All right. Just, I think it's good practice. Do all your garden at the top of your function. Try and prevent nesting. So rather than checking if these conditions are true, and I'm putting my logic in there, I like a little bit of fire code. All right, so now we've got this socket. What we're going to actually do is we're going to emit into the room. So I'm just going to so each room has its own event bus, and we're just literally going to fire in an event to talk to our plugin. One of the reasons that I like this system is it avoids direct references to methods and properties of other bits of code in the system that could change over time. And, it's just very brittle to implement a large system doing direct referencing. So I'm a fan of the event bus and dependency injection where it's appropriate. So we're going to get a hold of our emitter in the room, and we're just going to fire in our event here. It's good practice to pop all your events into enum, and I've done that for most of it. But when we get just code in and want to get built in, sometimes break the rules a bit and then circle back. It's just how it is. Okay, so we're going to pass in a data property, and that's going to contain our action. So what I want to do now is we're going to dynamically create our action from a parameter. So let's just define that as an empty string for right now. Now we can use shorthand, and we do have to pass in our sockets. Let's pop that in there, and I'll be able to come back and pull this out because we'll have a dynamic way to do this. So that's nice. All All right. It's been a wee while with Express. Let's look up how we would pull out our get parameter. Okay, perfect. So it's contained in query. I love having optional chaining in JavaScript, and it's always a nice idea with another coalescing operator, to provide a default value. I like using empty strings because then I can just check the length. I don't have to do any null checks or anything like that. So, if I expect a string value, I try and keep it to the default value just being empty string. It just leads to easier guarding, and checking null and undefined in JavaScript is a wee bit of a mess even to this day. All right, so we've got our action, we're passing it in. So technically, that's all we need to do to wire this up so we can emulate our WebSocket event. The majority of this whole system is using WebSockets. I've only had to use Express when necessary. Okay, so now our action will be populated. So all we need to do here is set up a couple of stub methods. And we could do this all inline, but that's not good. Let's call this pause loop. Doesn't have to be async. All we're doing is setting a state update. And we'll do a toggle. Should have us. Good to go. Pause loop. And as you can see, this basically supports being triggered from a WebSocket event dispatch or via an Express, just essentially emulating a WebSocket call. So that's good. And the cool thing is, because I just set all this up, files in. So I'm going to circle back and add some authentication checks just to ensure that it is coming from my user. And we could check that because we set essentially like a session token in local storage, and I'll be able to send that over offline. So what I think I'm going to do is just add some logging. We're going to test this in local. Well, I don't think I even have to do that. Okay, let's actually circle around to our front end code, because we do have a series of buttons. Take a quick look here. Let's do it on our actual live instance. So going to YouTube. You can see I can get the viewers, I can get subscribers, I can get likes. We're just going to add an additional button here. That's going to let us toggle, pause or play, sorry, the TTS system, fetcher from YouTube, and save us some token usage. All right. So this is definitely full stack development, to say the least. I'm also using Canvas and WebGL to render avatars on screen. We're even using shaders, believe it or not. WebRTC, WebSockets, and machine learning. So I use that to take like a web camera and then draw it over the avatar's faces. So you, you could just, like, instead of sharing your camera, you could just share your face and put it into an avatar. And I use TensorFlow JS for that. All right, this is what we want. This is technically a stack. I should have just used stack. I'm using React Bootstrap. I'd rather be using Tailwind for my front end CSS framework and build my components out from the ground. But we'll come back and deal with that another time. All right, so let's just throw in another button here. I think we're going to throw in two because I'm not going to have the front end maintain if it's paused or not. Well, that actually gets me thinking, could we do emit state updates? So we could add our is pause there. That would make sense. All right, figure YouTube action. And we're going to pass in dog stop. Got a dog crawling all over my feet. Oh, hold on. No, I'm thinking of this because of how I set up the express in, but we're going to use a WebSocket to inject this. So all we need to do is this. Call that play actually. And as you can see, ESLint is not cooperating today, but there's a billion things I could focus on, and this is just one of them. Pause. I said I wasn't going to code on the horizontal stream because everyone wanted the portrait streams, and that's, you know, because people want to see folks chatting here, the regulars that watch the streams. We're not going to get that on the horizontal streams for quite a while because I've neglected it, and the channel's small. If anyone does see this, please make sure you like and subscribe, because that tells YouTube that, you know, this format's worthwhile. That's fine for now. Let's hop back over to our backend code. Oh. And then our dispatch. What's it called? All right, this should be pulled out into its own bloody method. So let's go ahead and do that. I like using structured arguments. You know, with JavaScript, we get away with destructured, which is just lovely. We could come back and actually send out more state. This is for ending alive. Okay, so status is additional. So anywhere we're calling this event and sending it out to the room, we'll just replace with this dispatch state, and we'll pass in any errors, and we'll pass in our status, which in this case is stopped. We can clear this out, and there's a couple other instances, so I need to go ahead and clean that up. Right here, well, before I release this, I need to be cautious to not release that. It looks like we have some additional properties we might want to capture here, such as video ID and timeout. But we do populate that in state. So we'll go ahead and do that in a dispatch state. And this one's supposed to be started. I couldn't see if there's any errors. Let's see. Errors will default to an empty array. ESLint should be tidying this up for us, but it's not. What are you going to do? Fetch viewers loop. Why is that? Oh, okay. I didn't release that because we have a token burn rate on YouTube. So I just manually do that right now. So now we're looking for an additional place where we send update, which should be right in here. Possibly be to array, and then we want status running. Why'd that do that? It's lying. It's not deprecated. That's my own method. Bloody hell. Oh, that's fine. All right. I think I should handle that. We'll go back to dispatch state and just shoot out anything else we want to, such as video ID. Our poll duration would be good as well. What's it called? Oops, I just messed up. Let's do this. Rather than referencing the state multiple times, let's just export our state out like this. So we'll do the video ID. Also creation. State. We have total requests that we want fired out as well. We'll go ahead and do that. All right, I think that's fine. I think I might just go ahead and do a full build so I could get this captured so it's easy to clip. Probably makes sense. So we're gonna do a little PR review on ourselves here. We're gonna go ahead and look at web. Well, that's not defined. What else do we have? Oh, how do I get rid of that? Okay, so what else do we need? Added our is paused. So the state. Wanted some helper methods. Set that. We'll implement the dispatch state, which is fired by start and stop. We added that to our event handler right here. Looks like for the next horizontal stream, I need to bump the audio bitrate. YouTube's upset about that. And then what else do we want? Oh, while I'm here, I do need to add an ID to our add chat messages plugin that I implemented. Currently, right now, we're just using it to the avatar ID, which doesn't make much sense. I'm just going to use a little helper function. Let's generate. Generate ID. This way, our TTS system this thing will actually have a unique ID per message. I'm just going to go ahead and terminate the YouTube system right now because no one's seeing this. All right. And then I'll start coding something that needs to get ripped out of here. I'm not putting that up. Yeah, this add live chat message doesn't belong there. It looks like I commented out moderation here on local. We'll go ahead and re-enable that. And we just want our ID. Cut this out of here. Pop that in our pull request. Technically, it's a pull request. Obviously, I need to come in and clear out my discards, my state changes. All right, this looks like I'm. Okay. Oh, that reminds me. So in our Discord implementation for the chat, I added the ability to basically, so you can message on the Discord channel. There's a channel set up that goes right into the stream, runs for all the moderation fillers and stuff, but it's zero latency for folks on YouTube, so we appreciate that. But what we wanted was on our, when we start a stream, I added a button so I could notify everyone, you know, with the portrait, with the horizontal streams, like whatever, Twitch, YouTube. But I need to add an at everyone tag apparently to get this to work properly. So how do we do that? I'll just add at everyone. And that's what Dylan, your Discord mod, said to do. So hopefully that picks everyone up. We'll go ahead and include that as well. And I think that's it. One quick look. What happened there? Nothing. Make sure Kynto database is actually there. So we get our database in the plugin layer via dependency injection. That's good. What? That's it for backend changes. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the build pipeline. What did we do? We implemented this pause and exposed get routes and socket handlers. for controlling it, for controlling YouTube chat fetch. All right, let's go commit that, fire that off. We'll come back over here and then we'll go into our build pipeline. The project's segmented out into 4 parts. So the relevant parts are the server, the UI, which is the React layer, then the game layer, or the client layer, which is the WebGL and Canvas layer. We'll go ahead and fire off the server layer, which is right here. Click build now, open Blue Ocean. And with the branch I just populated it into, this will go on to staging automatically and go into our quote unquote test prod environment. It takes about 2 minutes to get it on Amazon, and it takes like less than 30 seconds to get on our staging server since that's in-house. All right, let's go look at our front end changes. As you can see, everything's segmented, right? Okay, so we did split off our record logic from the WebRTC implementation. We do want to commit that because anything I can do to just start shrinking the complexity of that is good, because WebRTC is no joke, but the rewards are absolutely incredible. I highly recommend that you check it out for your own projects. You could use it for implementing games, you could use it for implementing live streaming stuff, telephone calls, like shoutcast servers, anything you want. So we'll call this split of media record logic from WebRTC implementation. All right, so we got that sitting there. Got a couple of features to wrap up here, such as like forgot password and all that good stuff, and HLS, because I did set up our RTMP container so we could have our own relay for live streams. If you know we could code it on this channel, we don't have to use services like Restream. I'm going to do it. So that's essentially what we did there. Let's take a look at YouTube. All right, so all we did was add buttons for play and pausing the loop. I'm going to fire this in there. And then I think, what did I do here? Oh, I just added some filters to the OBS implementation. We'll capture that separately. I do like having the commit messages and make it easier to roll back or push out a bad update. So you can't see this, but off here, I'm just populating my Git messages. We just added a pause and play button for the YouTube chat implementation. And then the next thing, this is just how I connect to OBS right here. We are going to fire this off. I don't think we need to log this to console anymore. I think we're good. Essentially, so just to explain what's going on here, I append V to the end of the scenes in OBS set up for the portrait streams. And I do that for a couple of reasons. But one reason is we don't want to show it in our OBS controller, because the plugin I use to do the portrait streams in OBS doesn't support control over WebSockets. So we just want to filter them out completely. So we'll fire that off, hop back over to our build pipeline. You can see the server built successfully. Let's go back here. Sorry, where am I? So it's called game, but it's technically the UI layer. Don't get confused. Looks like the last build actually failed. Why did that happen? That explains why our dynamic header wasn't sized properly. What happened? See, ESLint's broken and it's working on my build server. Oh no. Oh, we're gonna get punished for that. Oh boy, let me fix that. At least that one. Oh, thank you, ESLint. We pushed an update. It was a breaking change, and I do have a mix of CGS and MGS just because of the age of the project and the amount of code I've already written. 554. Right here. So apparently there's somewhere there's spaces. Right. Let's see it. Yes, Clint, please come back. I suppose we could run it manually, but hopefully that fixes it. Some people prefer spaces, some people prefer tabs. I'm a tab guy. Okay, we'll fire this off. I think we have like 4 commits that's going to pick up. We might actually watch this one. But yeah, there's my messages of the changes. If I click into it, you can see the code or the components that were changed. Someone came on, Mo came on last night, and he's building his own Git front end. And he also works with Golang, so I'm really curious to see what he has going on. Because as you can see, I manage everything in house here. I just spun up my own instance of Jenkins for the build pipeline. All right. So we'll let that run for a second. It's almost 5 a.m. So I think what I'll do, once I confirm all this works okay, I'll go ahead and just configure the environment here so I can actually bring my phone out and about with me on the town today. I have to actually leave the house, and we'll do a remote live stream. This will control OBS remotely, and we'll have the avatars along with me. Obviously, it'll be a portrait stream, just because no one else will see it otherwise. But what I think these sort of streams have, why these streams will be good is for the replay value. Way easier to watch a code stream that's horizontal as opposed to portrait after the fact. Because just look at the stats, like completely transparent with everything that's going on here. You know, look at this. We've had a total of 6 people that have seen this in total. When with our portrait streams, we get up to 1,000. So the difference is stark. I could have notified the regulars in Discord that we were doing this, but I didn't. I just wanted to test it out. Hopefully this goes through though, because I do need this to work, so I can get on the road. They shut down the main road that I used to get to the coast. I'm a second spot. It's completely shut down. They're ripping out the railroad tracks, and so I have to find another way into town today. Fingers crossed. For anyone seeing this, you'll be seeing this in the future, so you'll be able to tell me if this worked or not. Oh, I forgot my mugs in there. I need to add another button so I can hide that easier. All right, it's fired off. So I think what we'll do is a server restart. We got a total of 0 chats tonight, which is completely fine. It gave me an opportunity to test here. And we're going to do a server restart. Let me change my main screen back because this has got me very uncomfortable. Oh well, it is what it is. So we'll clear this console. Docker compose down. Docker compose up. When we release front-end changes, we don't have to do any of this. And we technically do have a build stage in Jenkins that fires this, but we're doing it manually. -- build, we build our container, and then D for detached. We'll let that go down. As you can see, everything turns off. Even if I go to our Steam Deck, you can see that's also disconnected. Give this about a minute or two. And I will go ahead and just start up the YouTube chat integration just to test it, just to see if we can pause the chat or not. We'll set it with a low duration, and I'll log it off screen to the side so I can see what's happening. All right, buddy, it should be coming up momentarily. Okay. We're back in business. So just let me restart all these environments. Get that one fired off. We'll get our main one. And we'll reload our local account right here. Just light that a little nicer. I love the way the tiles load in though. It's just pretty. Okay. All right. So what now? Okay, yeah. So we'll go ahead and just activate our changes. We've got our play and pause button. Let's just make sure that works. So I'll go click start.
CodeLoch says hello from YouTube chat.
Okay, so that's running. I'm gonna hit pause. Open up my logger off screen here and just ensure that it's not pulling it. All right, it looks like it's not pulling it. So we're just going to give it a couple more seconds here. We have a poll duration of 5 seconds. I'm going to click play again. Play. And then just see if it starts picking up messages again. It looks like pause works, but play is not working. Right, I just typed a message manually. Let's take a look. What did I call the bloody thing? We need this up before I go anywhere today. We don't want it to break all our work. Yeah. There's pause return. We're setting it to false. Oh, you know what it is. Oh, you know what it is. Oh, I thought I had this set up on a set interval. I'm using a set timeout. All right, I'm glad we tested this. Okay, so what we'll do in this case, give me a second, because so if you look down here, we were terminating before this fetch message loop got re-invoked. It basically invokes itself again after this timeout. So what I'll do is, as much as I say I hate nesting, we are going to nest this part right here, because we do want this loop to continue to run. So what I'm going to do is, if is paused, we're just going to nest this logic right here. God, ESLint is just broken everywhere. What a bloody mess. We'll get rid of this. That way, if it's paused, we skip over our logic where we actually fetch the YouTube chat, but our timeout and our essential, we're emulating a loop, all works as expected. And then I think we're in good shape. Let's just confirm our logic here. If it's paused, yes, that looks correct. And so we'll go back up to down to our server changes. We're looking for our YouTube plugin implementation. And keep in mind when I say plugin, this entire stack is custom for good and bad. Okay, ensure, we'll switch over to our code here. Ensure that YouTube TTS pause does not break fetch message. We'll commit that. We'll fire that out. Back to Jenkins. Back to our server. I will fire that out to the world. Give this a moment. Hey buddy, so check this out. Appreciate you asking a question. So let me restart this.
F3NTT says what you making?
So what I'm making is this whole little system that you see right here. Essentially, these are avatars controlled by a live chat. And all I'm doing tonight is adding the ability to pause, fetch in new messages. So like I could dynamically update a bunch of stuff from this, like the viewer count, the like count. So if you drop a like, you'd see that activate on the top right of your screen. Any other messages you send, it'll read it out. It controls OBS, so it does all that. It also lets me share my camera all from here. I can share my desktop. It's basically like this massive streaming overlay that like lets you do all sorts of stuff, and it integrates all the live chats. So Twitch, YouTube, you can share screens. I even implement remote desktop, but basically what I've been focusing on is the streaming components to just make it really smooth. But right now we're running a build update because I added the ability to pause fetching those messages because there's a token cost. Yeah, and I'm just trying. Typically, I stream in portrait, and that's how I've kind of built the channel. But I was kind of needing a quiet stream tonight, so we're trying horizontal on YouTube for once. It's quite a difference. We've had 7 views compared to, you know, like we're guaranteed like 1,600 at least on portrait, but no one can see my bloody code. So just testing out the new setup here. We're waiting for this to build. We just made a quick change so we could add some additional buttons here. I don't move this out of the way. But look, I'll show you this. It's pretty cool. I can even control which scene you see from OBS or dynamically. Let's switch it to, what's it called? Full self cam. Let's switch it to me. Switch it. Which one is it? Game. Switch it to that. Yeah, it integrates with everything, man. And I'll drop the Discord if you're interested in just like keeping tabs with this project. Let me do that. There you go. I appreciate you if you subscribe as well. Hoping that YouTube will start picking us up in these like full horizontal streams eventually. So just show more code. So we've got some difficult stuff to fix. We're going to be going back into the WebRTC world. That's how I'm able to share my desktop and my cameras and stuff into the stream or remotely as well, and have guests. But WebRTC is like a bitch to say the least. So I got it working, but like it needs optimized. Where are we at in our build? We are done. So this is just going to temporarily disable the chat as it restarts the server. And the stack is interesting. There's a lot going on here. As I mentioned, WebRTC, WebSockets, and just your basic Node.js and Express, and
broadcasting terminal,
WebGL, Canvas, all sorts of stuff. All right, what am I doing here? We are restarting our server. That's right. It's 5:10 a.m. I'm home to go to the beach, so that's why I've not bothered with this. All right, Docker compose done. Patched. Give us a second. Once I confirm all this works, it'll be the first time I take Kynto out on the field and essentially start up a full stream all from my phone. And as I said, it's portrait streams, so YouTube algorithm actually serves it up, and we'll have avatars all over the screen. It's like I'm showing random stuff. I'm excited about that because thus far it's just been streams of me building this and then avatars asking questions about it. But like I also want to show it in the real world. So it's kind of been my focus for like the past week or two. Before that, I was just getting Twitch, Kick, and Discord integrated. YouTube was the first one I did. And yeah, man, it's been fun. Went from coding this whole little world builder in isolation by myself to like it's slowly becoming like a social project. And like users and like watchers are now kind of driving the development, which is nuts, but exactly what I wanted. They did vote for me not to do these horizontal things on YouTube though, because they want to see avatars in here. They don't want it quiet.
Steam Deck joined stream new.
Just bringing all our environments back up. We'll give this a final test. So we're already in an active stream. I can just go in here. I have two implementations of the YouTube chat system. We're using the official one for this test. I'm just going to click start. It automatically fetches a live chat ID, populates it. I'm going to pull up logs off screen and just make sure that play and pause buttons work correctly. Because I don't want to burn up tokens, and then we'll come back over this coming week. I'm going to finish building out the TTSQ system. Everyone already gets unique voice. Everyone gets an avatar, and but this is going to be like a visual representation of what's going on, and the ability to basically like ensure that people's messages get read out without other people cutting them off. So I'm just focusing on quality of life and improvements at this point. All right, so I'm checking our logs over here. And I do not want to have to push another update. I'm not seeing it play. Let's see if I click play, well then we'll do it. Oh man, should have tested this. Oh, that's my issue. Look, I checked if it is paused and then all right, well, let's pause it and then see if it works. That's funny. Oops.
Hello from YouTube chat.
Yeah, there you go. Now you see it working. That's funny. All right, so
Testing 123.
but where is the avatar? I don't bloody see him. I must have spawned off screen somewhere. Let me try. Warp. I hope I introduced some weirdness. But yep, it is fetch and stuff. So all I need to do is just fix if different to pause, and we'll fire that out, and I'll consider it a done deal. So you get for code and salute. Like I don't code the slate already. Fire that out. But at least it's letting us pause. Fetch and chat, so we're not burning up tokens. You get a total of 10,000 tokens a day. Sounds like a lot, but just to even post one message to the YouTube chat costs 50 tokens. And if you want to implement anything that resembles a low latency chat, that means fetching multiple, like 60 times a minute, essentially. Each fetch is 2 tokens, so that's 120 tokens right there. That sets how long I can stream in a day. So we're going to have to apply for more. But while this is building, I could just go ahead and maybe add some logic to a front end, right? But lets me know if I paused the polls, the polling. Spinning in circles here. Let's go into React. That's it. We're just going to add it as pause here. Oh, I don't even need that in this switch statement here. Why would I duplicate it? It makes no sense. But what else am I duplicating here? Duplicating both of those. Oh, I'll leave it. Fire that off as well. Why not? All right, server's done building. So this will be one of our last changes. We'll rebuild our front end, the UI layer at least. Start it twice. Oops. Build 466. And as I said, the project segmented off into 4 different components, 4 different projects. Make all this work. Well, this is doing its thing. Just quickly show you. There's all sorts of worlds in here that users have already built. And I just decided to start building something very different. in the middle of all this. All sorts of stuff. That's just one room. I think she did a good job in here.
Join Pixel Paradox.
We don't really have a pretty room. I think it was this one.
Steve.
I love the way it renders out with that. I coded that specifically so it would render out in like a circle. And you can use these little things as teleport to get around like different areas of the world. And the crazy thing is the YouTube avatars can actually control these avatars and like navigate this world, which is nuts. But starting off small. All right, let's see where we're at in our build. And is there any other cool rooms I want to show you? Someone built the entire map of Italy. Well, let's get it to render in a circle. There you go. Oh, Pathfinder just shut out because it's like so many tiles and I just clicked inch distance away. There we go. It's on the Steam Deck, so there he goes. All right, where are we at in our rebuild process? Because I want to go ahead and check some changes here. So we'll split right back over. Yeah, this whole world I just demonstrated to you is that I spent countless streams just building it so live chats could control it, be part of it without having to go on it, without having to open it up. It's all built for web, but there is native apps for it as well. Okay, so now I need to restart server because I did do a specific change for that, didn't I? Okay, Docker compose down, Docker compose. Oh, that's right. The build process deletes the directory then and recreates it, so we have to go back to it. All right, let that do its thing. Let's test it works okay. And then I have to switch some settings back on streaming environment. So when I go out and about today, anyone that typically watches the streams or will stumble into it because you're more likely to stumble into a portrait stream. We'll be able to see Kynto out and about. Kynto is the name of the project, Kynto. But my YouTube channel and all the streaming channels are CodeLoch. Oh no, what happened? Something bad. Told you it's a website. That's right, you don't see my other screen there. Go ahead, reactivate YouTube chat. You're going to hear a bunch of messages. It's not that many, but like 3. Most of those were mean.
F3NTT says what you're making.
Oh, I know what I broke. Oh, for goodness snakes. We got to release one more update. Damn it. We tested this. When I added the unique ID. Oh, bloody hell. Oh. I replaced we should just fix it on the client. I don't want to restart the server for this when this is actually important. No, we'll just do it in a server because the events use multiple places for the code. I was wondering why the chat bubbles weren't showing and I overlooked it. All right, one more reboot. And we'll test the pause while this is building. But we will go ahead and test out the functionality I did just code. I know this fix will work. So we're basically just doing a small revert to something. So that's running, right? Let's go ahead and just make sure we can pause. So in the next update, it should fire this out. Or we'll see. Try it. I'm gonna have to get driving, man. It's gonna be getting hot soon. And then get some fetch messages or dispatches that. It's kind of dangerous to do these checks right here. Let's take those off. We're not going to reboot to test that. But we could actually just added a toggle in like this. Watch. No. Screw it. What was that file? YouTube.js. How is this working? Are we done with our reboot here? Yes, we are. And you're still around, buddy, make sure you're subscribed so you can see the proper streams with a bunch of people using this system. It tends to be quite active during the basically the busiest part of the like early week. It's like during the weekend that things calm down, and that's why I'm trying a different stream format tonight. Let's try what with that. Oh, still building. I have to pack some trunks. Test this. Last year, and this time I was able to hold my breath for damn near 4 minutes. And this summer it did not work out that way. I just haven't got to the beach much. Do I have a mute in Kynto? Let's see. Yes, I do. Let's fire that mute real quick. We'll reload. Reconnect our YouTube chat integration and just make sure the chat bubbles come through as we expect them to. And they did. So see, that's what it's supposed to do. All right. So that's working good. What do I want to check? Oh, let's fix that alignment first. That's better. Maybe zoom in a wee bit. We'll give this a second to clear out. I did want to fix that, but we'll do that tonight. Give this a second here. We'll update our sub count. One person watching, 0 likes. All right. I didn't rebuild the front end. But that is the POS system working. So while I'm here, I'm just going to go ahead and configure our stream setup. So when I'm out and about, I can just use the app and I don't have to remote desktop in to get this working. And so what do I need to do for that? I need to ensure that our portrait stream activates when the Twitch stream does. That will fix it. Okay. Oh, okay. We don't have to reboot the server this time. Thankfully, we're just pushing out a front end change. I'll go ahead and mute it so we can test it. And we'll set it with a higher duration in which it fetches the messages. That way, if we get like a burst of chats, would actually be nice to make that field editable even when the stream integration's active. The more fixes I do, the more improvements I do. It's just like a constant stream of like, oh, I should do this as well. And that's why every single night, without fail, I have something that I'm working on. Never ever run into an issue of lack of things to work on, that's for sure. But just so you know, for the rest of the week, guys, you see this in the future. Our typical streams will work as they always have. We'll just do the portrait streams, but I will do a horizontal stream like this for the first 10 minutes, just to kind of explain what I'm doing or like show anything off. Like people send code reviews, people send their projects, portfolios and stuff. I'll just go ahead and capture that so it's easier to just start making long form videos without content. I do record it all locally as well, but I think it's just a good idea to start trying to build out an audience for horizontal as well. This is almost done. This will be a last reload, I promise, I hope. Installing all those dependencies with npm takes a minute, man. It really does. And you get a big directory, so it actually gets to tarring it all up in the create archive. Takes a wee minute as well. There we go. We got our pause and play buttons back, so I'm going to pull this logs to the side. Just test it real quick. Docker log container name. Okay, so it's pulling it. We'll pause it momentarily. Yeah, so this message shouldn't get read out. We'll just wait 5 seconds. Then I'll go ahead and unpause it. Make sure that I click on this so the sound permissions get picked up by Chrome. And I'll go ahead and click play. Hopefully it pulls it.
CodeLoch says testing paused chat.
Brilliant.
Testing unpaused chat.
Great. Pause it one more time. And I'll click play.
Testing pause one more time.
Cool. All right, so one of the other improvements I'll do tonight, about today, it's the morning now, they're just going to add an option to manually pull in the chat, so even when it's paused, we can trigger that. But that will conclude tonight's stream. This was good. Off to the beach. Taking my phone with me, obviously, and show you a wee bit of Florida. Hopefully the avatars can come along and I can hear you all in my head because I have the bone conducting headphones. So that's it. That's what I'm talking about. Kynto is a website. All right. Cheers. And thank you for the one person that stuck around tonight. Watch this. Hope you have a great one. Make sure you subscribe.